Shouldn't have to bury your kids. Not for a reason like this. Sometimes accidents happen. This is not an accident.
His son lost his life over insulin. Now RTV6 is holding leaders accountable for a plan to make this drug more affordable so it doesn't come down to life or death.
Guns, shootings, robberies, stabbings, sexual assaults, any of those things that are typically associated with bigger cities is exactly what we've got here.
At a time of turmoil, Muncie's new police chief talks about how to better keep the community safe.
And then there's hope on the horizon for this local spot named for an Indianapolis icon. How our Call 6 investigation has been following the promises made for this park.
This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. High prices for insulin are costing people their lives.
People are struggling to pay their high prescription bills and rationing their insulin because they can't afford it.
RTV6's Stephanie Wade explains failure to address the problem can be deadly.
Well, I was mad. I was really mad.
At 39 years old, Jeremy Crawford died this past August. Doctors say from pneumonia combined with diabetes. His father says he lost his health insurance and switched from using a higher grade prescription insulin to a much cheaper formulation he could buy over the counter.
Shouldn't have to bury your kids. Not for a reason like this. Sometimes accidents happen. This is not an accident.
The cost of the four most popular types of insulin has tripled over the past decade. The average price for someone paying out of pocket is $450 per month. People driving to Canada to get bottles of insulin for $32. The medicine so expensive, studies show 1 in 4 people with diabetes are skimping on or skipping life-saving doses.
There's no incentive to bring it down. And that's what really makes me mad. There's poor people that have to go without.
A few months ago, Colorado passed a law capping the price of insulin to no more than $100 for a 30-day period. Coming up at 6, we speak with a state representative here in Indiana who wants to do the same. Working for you at the State House, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
And it appears as though an innocent bystander's life was ended today as a result of a police chase on the northeast side. Indianapolis Metro Police officers say they tried to stop a driver who was wanted on a felony weapons warrant, but they refused to pull over. The chase eventually ended in a crash near Pendleton Pike and Oaklandon Road in Lawrence. One person who was in another car was killed in that crash. We don't yet know their identity. That suspect was taken into custody by investigators.
A man has now been sentenced to decades in prison for his brutal attack on a man inside a Southside Kroger. Jason Cooper got 55 years total, with 10 of those on home detention at the end. Cooper was convicted of stabbing Carlos Castro 3 times, then shooting him twice after Castro refused to hand over his cell phone. This happened inside a Southside Kroger in 2017. Cooper was eventually arrested and after leading police on a chase. Today is the last day on the job for Muncie's Police Chief Joe Winkle.
And the department's new top cop comes at a time of turmoil for the agency and for the city of Muncie.
Call 6 Investigates Kara Kenny sat down with Nathan Sloan, the officer getting ready to take over the chief's office, to find out how he plans to restore the public's trust in the police department.
Nathan Sloan has been with Muncie Police for 18 years, much of it as a detective. Instead of solving cases, now he'll be solving some of the agency's biggest problems. Poor morale and turnover are among his top concerns.
Do you see a lot of officers leaving to go to Fishers and other places like that?
Absolutely. Right now, we're kind of a revolving door where we get people in the door and train. I mean, if there's anything that Muncie does well, is we train officers through a vast array of calls on the street. Guns, shootings, robberies, stabbings, sexual assaults, any of those things that are typically associated with bigger cities is exactly what we've got here.
You can see from this picture, they have a few empty slots. They're actually budgeted for 108 officers, but only have 93 on the force right now.
We need to get that number up immediately. I mean, we are going to be doing everything we can to hire aggressively.
Sloan's arrival comes as federal authorities are investigating several Muncie police officers for alleged police brutality, and the department is also facing several excessive force lawsuits.
Given all of that, how do you move forward?
We've got to get our head wrapped around exactly what's gone on and what's going on, and see where that leaves us to tell really where we're going to move on from there.
Muncie City Hall has been the focus of an FBI corruption investigation for several years. And just last month, Mayor Dennis Tyler was indicted for theft of government funds. Muncie's mayor-elect chose Sloan for chief and Patrolman Melissa Pease for deputy chief. Both say they have not been privy to much of anything related to those federal probes.
We have not had the liberty to review anything at this point, and we don't really know all the details and haven't been able to evaluate that. I'm sure it will affect us in our new administration, but we will deal with each issue.
Would you say that the public trusts this department?
I think that there's been some issues. Some relationships have been fractured.
Both Pease and Sloan want to repair those fractures by improving transparency and communication with the community, as well as providing resources to help address Muncie's drug epidemic.
It's exciting to be in a position like that, but it's also a daunting task. I mean, we've got a lot in front of us, so it's kind of a little sweet and sour situation for us.
In Muncie, Kara Kenny, RTV6.
And Nathan Sloan's first day as chief is Wednesday, January 1st.
Well, the city of Beech Grove now has its first new police chief in 8 years. Today, Mayor Dennis Buckley named Michael Maurice as the new leader of the police department. He has been serving as deputy chief under Mark Schwartz, who will be stepping down effective New Year's Day after 37 years with the city. Chief-to-be Michael Maurice was one of 9 officers in the department to step up and apply for the position.
They're a great group of guys, and we're probably the best kept secret in Marion County. And it's not a surprise that we had 9 guys put in for it and that we had 9 great interviews. We're a very professional department. We plan to keep it that way.
Maurice says he plans for the next 6 months, including for the department to work closely with schools and adding more resource officers for student safety.
Now in the Storm Team 6 Tracking Center with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory. Kevin, today was a little bit of a rude awakening after some nice days.
We've talked about the change. It's another thing to feel it, though, right? The wind gust over my shoulder there, 45-mile-per-hour peak gust in Indianapolis. That's not the strongest in central Indiana. I'll show that to you in just a little bit. Just let me say, over the next 24 hours, it's going to stay windy and much colder. 36 degrees, that's our current temperature. We were in the 50s just after midnight. Temperatures have been falling through the day. Temperature in Lafayette, 34 degrees, and the wind still howling. It is a cold, strong southwest wind. We'll see gusts of 30 miles per hour tonight through tomorrow. Just a little heads up, I think your New Year's Eve will be dry. Prior to that, some snow showers around. Wind chill temperatures, this is what you need to dress for. Temperatures in the mid-20s, and there are a few rain showers and isolated snow showers. Shouldn't have much consequence on the roadway this evening. Actual temperature will change very little through the next several hours with lots of clouds. Just above the freezing mark is where we'll stay.
And new today, a major development involving the funding for a park honoring an iconic Indianapolis civic leader. The National Park Service is providing $750,000 to help with the construction of Reverend Charles Williams Park in Indianapolis. Earlier this month, our Call 6 Investigates team detailed how the park, established in 2015, had nothing at the site despite a blueprint established nearly 5 years ago. The new grant is expected to help with playground equipment, a performance shelter, and trails. The project is still in need of $500,000. The park was meant to celebrate the life of Reverend Williams, who led the Indiana Black Expo until his death in 2002 due to prostate cancer. And the funding from the National Park Service is also helping other projects in underserved communities across the country. Overall, the agency is supporting 18 parks in 16 states. The Williams Park is the only project in Indiana receiving federal dollars. The total being spent nationwide is $11.7 million.
Well, the Colts' 2019 season came to a lackluster end on Sunday with a 38-20 loss at Jacksonville.
There are a lot of big questions facing the franchise heading into the offseason. Brad Brown joins us now with a look at that. Brad.
Mark and Amanda, as October was winding down, the Colts were in first place, had hopes of making a run deep into the playoffs. Then the second half of the season happened, and today they were cleaning out the locker room. Sunday's loss at Jacksonville looked like many that we have seen before. A solid first half had the Colts putting 20 points on the board, taking another lead in halftime. Marlon Mack scored twice. The Colts piled up 132 rushing yards on the day. But then in the second half, some more zeros, same as they did in the fourth quarter at Tampa Bay, fourth quarter against the Titans, the Texans. It was really a theme at the back end of the season. The offense just wasn't able to get it done. Here's Coach Frank Reich earlier today.
you feel the disappointment, the heartache, the devastation, if you will, because when you put as much into it, that's what it feels like of not reaching our goal and ending the season on not a positive note. And so you gotta feel that, and you gotta own that, and you gotta take every ounce of ownership of that. And what keeps it on balance on the other side is all the positive stuff that happened this year. And there was a lot of positive, and that positive starts with our players.
The Colts season was all about wide swings of positive and negative. I'll talk more about those. We will hear from some of the Colts players as well, and what's ahead for the coming weeks. That's all tonight on the news at 6. We will have some playoff football here on RTV6. The Colts division rivals, the Houston Texans, will be hosting the Bills. It is the opening game of Wild Card Weekend. Saturday's coverage will start at 2, kickoff around 4:35. The Titans are also representing the AFC South. They play the Patriots on Saturday night.
Brad, thank you for that. Ahead at 5:30 on the Now Indy, it is the fastest growing cancer. But what if you could catch it early with a simple trip to the salon? The hairdresser is getting trained to spot melanoma.
But first, you may have had suspicions that your phone is listening to you, so we are going inside one giant company. Efforts to know you better, how to keep Amazon from knowing too much about you.
And I'll focus on the timing and potential for some light accumulating snow during the day tomorrow, and we'll unveil the temperature trend for the rest of the week coming up.
Wednesday only at Ashley Home Store. This is home. This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
Well, just days after celebrating her 26th birthday, an Indianapolis woman is shot to death and a child is left wounded. We learned the identity today of the woman killed on the northwest side Sunday afternoon. Investigators say 26-year-old Alexis Edwards died after the shooting on the 4800 block of Clarkson Drive. A child was also shot and is now recovering. Right now, we don't know the link between the child and Edwards, and police won't say anything about who shot them.
All units responding, 3062 Arrow Road Lane. We've received multiple calls stating that a house is on fire with a loud boom in the area. This has been made a working explosion.
That's the sound of dispatchers alerting first responders to the reported explosion at a home on Indy's southeast side. And we now know that blast is believed to have been from a propane cylinder that exploded. Fire crews responded to the scene on Danube Street around 10:30 last night to find the home's second story engulfed in flames. Several people had called 911 to report hearing a blast, which later turned out to likely be that propane tank. 2 adults and 2 children were able to make it out safely, and the house next door was also evacuated as a precaution. No one was injured. Investigators are still working to figure out exactly what sparked that fire.
Well, it took nearly 3 years and nearly $30 million, but one of the north side's busiest intersections is actually an intersection no more. The 96th Street and Keystone Avenue interchange is now open for business. You can go down north and south on Keystone without having to stop at the once cumbersome stoplight at 96th. Instead of using exits and a roundabout to get onto that street, the intersection bordering between Indy and Carmel has been described as one of Central Indiana's most dangerous. A new era there.
Yes. Well,
exciting.
Yeah, and a new field today outside.
Yeah, ooh. I don't know how exciting that is. But
no, but it was a drastic difference, I think.
We've had, and mark this down as one of the days, because it would be 9 straight days of 50 or above. And you say, well, when was it 50 today? It was just before 1 a.m. So, but our daylight hours are in the 30s. We're onto a new streak, but that won't last long. Let me show you the blues. We go from green to blue. That's we're flipping the switch here to some snow showers across central Indiana. I don't think it'll be too much to deal with this evening. Our temperature's still above freezing, which means this melts on contact. Just another visual reminder that we're back to December. As you look at the radar now, a few more snow showers just east of Peru and Kokomo, headed toward Marion. Some rain showers transitioning to snow showers toward Greensburg. The combination of the cold wind and colder temperatures leaves us with a wind chill temperature of 26 in Indy. Feels like 20 in Peru. Temperatures with the cloud cover and the wind keeping everything mixed up won't change too much, but we'll manage to fall into the 20s for actual temperatures. And this is the wind chill chart, which means it will feel like the teens late tonight through the overnight hours into tomorrow. Say hello to Remy. It looks like I just said, you want to go for a walk?
Remy!
Those ears go up. She does. She loves this weather. Temperatures in the 30s with a couple of snow showers. And then I'm sure, Remy, it would be right back to the bed to curl up, take another nap. That's the way to kind of end 2019. As far as these snow showers, 11 o'clock tonight, few and far between. 7 a.m. tomorrow, best chance for light accumulating snow will be from Indy north and northeast. 7 to 10 a.m. you can see impacting I-69, I-70 to the east if you're doing some driving tomorrow. And then by the time we get to 1 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that's starting to pack up and move away, which means our New Year's Eve forecast will be dry. Here are the snowfall potential amounts. Certainly it looks like an inch or less as you get southwest of Lafayette to Indianapolis to Greensburg line. Shouldn't be any accumulation at all. Temperatures tomorrow, cold. This is the coldest 24-hour stretch within the 7-day planner. Still windy tomorrow with gusts to 30 miles per hour or stronger. Slowly coming out of the west. That will make 33 or 34 feel even colder with snow showers around to prove it, at least through the first half of the day. As we get to your New Year's Eve forecast, as we mentioned, dry. Temperatures around 30 when the confetti flies, the ball drops in Times Square. You can watch all of that right here on RTV6. Dick Clark's countdown, right? And temperatures as we get to Thursday, back to 47 with rain returning, 54 Friday. We cool back down, but nothing Arctic. Some snow showers around Saturday to prove that it will be cold once again.
We'll bring you the news first.
Yes.
The final newscast of 2019.
We'll be here.
We'll be here, right. All right, thanks, Kevin, for that. Hey, it's weird. Amazon seems to know your every interest, even if it's something you've never ordered before.
And sometimes it feels like you can just say the word and it pops up as an ad. So consumer reporter John Matarese is investigating what Amazon knows about you.
Many people have been wondering for years if their phone is listening to them. They'll talk about shoes, and shoes pop up on all their feeds. So how does Amazon seem to know every interest you have? Tawana Wilson received an Amazon Echo Dot as a gift from her husband a few months ago.
I just can't bring myself to do it yet.
But the Echo still sits in its original box.
I'm not ready for it.
Like so many people, Tawana suspects Amazon knows too much about her, such as after she had a conversation with a friend about Paris.
The next day, I had a targeted ad for booking flights to Paris.
A week later, she says she was talking with her husband about his Jeep.
I started having a stream of Jeep ads.
Like many other Prime members, she's caught between the convenience of one-click ordering and concerns about her privacy. And now she has even more concerns after Amazon admitted that its employees sometimes listen in to conversations you're having with Alexa. Are you listening?
I only listen after you say the wake word.
The fears make perfect sense, according to cybersecurity consultant Dave Hatter. Many Prime members, he says, use Amazon for shopping, watching movies, reading books, listening to music, and monitoring their house through the Ring camera system.
They own Kindle. You know what books you bought. They own Whole Foods. They own Ring, the Internet of Things doorbell, the Amazon Fire tablet. You couple all of these things together, and suddenly they now have an enormous view into pretty much everything you're doing online.
As an example, he did an Amazon search for Toolkit.
If I go here and click on this Win Rotary Toolkit.
Sure enough, Toolkit ads started appearing all over his phone and laptop. And if you have an Echo with Alexa, Hatter says it raises a whole new set of questions.
Is this thing listening all the time? How long are these recordings stored?
So what can you do to limit what they know?
So there are some things you can do.
Hatter says the simplest things you can do is use a variety of electronic ecosystems, including Google and Apple, so no single system knows all your interests. Watch movies on Netflix or Apple TV instead of Amazon Prime Video. Have Alexa go into its settings and delete conversations. And turn off your phone's microphone for all but essential features. Wilson's turning off her mic, but even without an Echo Dot, she still wonders what Amazon knows about her. Do you feel they're listening to you?
It does. It absolutely does.
Amazon says employees listen to Alexa only to improve voice recognition, and both Amazon and Facebook insist they do not listen to your conversations, though many people remain skeptical. As always, don't waste your money. Working for you, I'm John Matarese, RTV6.
And still to come this half hour, New Year's and drinking go hand in hand for many. So we are working to keep yours safe and free of headaches with these complimentary rides and hangover cures. This is the news on RTV6.
Hiring Hoosiers only on RTV6.
Welcome back. Right now on RTV6, we are putting together all your options for having fun and getting home safely this New Year's.
Yeah, and if you do it right, it won't cost you a dime. Indigo is letting you ride the bus for free between the hours of 8 p.m. New Year's Eve and 2 a.m. New Year's Day. Any route in the city, free of charge. And Lyft is offering free rides of up to $10 for the first 1,000 people who download a special code. You can find a link to that code plus other details on free New Year's rides in this story on the RTV6 app.
And you may plan to bring in the new year with a drink or two, but then there's the dreaded hangover the next day. So we talked to doctors about some simple remedies you may not always think of. Take vitamin B6 before and after drinking alcohol. A small study showed it helped with hangover symptoms. If you take a pain reliever, avoid Tylenol. This could help your headache but upset your stomach. And of course, drink plenty of water. Alcohol interferes with releasing the hormone vasopressin and dehydrates your body.
So there you go.
You know if you're going to do it, here's some options.
Or
Feel
take the next
better.
day off from work.
Yeah, please. We're going to both be here, though. We'll be here. All new at 6 p.m. A spike in reported flu cases. We find out why the flu shot may not always prevent the virus, but why you should probably get vaccinated anyway.
And first on the now, Indy. Isolation can be a painful reality for aging Americans. How these groups are helping seniors avoid isolation. That story coming your way. You're watching RTV6.